Today to talk about a very important topic in my life, and this is prosecution. I'm prosecuted. Now, um, let me turn my music off. This is my family radio I like to listen to.
Revelation 2 and 3 this morning, the letters to the seven churches.
No
So if you were like
Revelations.
you, get ready for the test.
All right, they have tests and Bible quizzes and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. I started listening to them a lot. I was listening to them at one point, like every day, and then I stopped, and now I got back and listened to them again, which is important for me. But anyway, prosecution. We're prosecuted. So yes, my company, my business, my family, friends, stuff like that, were they were prosecuted by individuals who hated us, and they hated us because we didn't do anything wrong to them. We didn't attack. We didn't even know who they were. Honestly, we just didn't know who they were. But they were just attacking us, and they were attacking us because there was a fellow on YouTube. I'm not saying go out and hate this man. Don't bring him any negative his way because that's not how you do things. At the end of the day, you give it to God. But there's a man on YouTube goes by the name, which is his full name because we put his name out there because it is what it is. Jamie Fernando Gonzalez, and he has a channel Crow 1176. So Jamie, many years back, made reach to our channel and requested the ingredients to our products. At that particular time, he's giving his products away free. Now, we can back this up because, again, there is a video of him showing making free products. There were a lot of them. There's a whole lot of them. That was just the only one that survived when he was deleting these videos left and right. Someone got it for us and passed it on to us. But anyway, and the video shows him making a black and white paint, which he called Metallica Mix 2.0. There were other ones that have their names attached to them. And his whole thing was that I'm doing this because he doesn't want people to pay for screen paint. That was his whole campaign. Okay, that's good for you. That's good for you. There's a lot of people on YouTube that have different forum sites that show you how to make free gray screen paint, and go find them. They're all over YouTube. So that's just them. You're in that category. But we sell our products. That's what we do. And it's my blessing I got from my Lord. And this is what he advised us to do with our blessing. We sell our products. That's what we do. It's our blessing. But he became obsessed because keep in mind at that particular time, our screen paint had beat every single screen paint in that period of gray screens. This is why we got the contracts. This is why we popped up. We have this European contract and see our stuff overseas and all that stuff. Yeah, we got very popular with it. And he thought that if he could take our stuff, this would put him, I don't know what he was trying to do with it, but it would put him on that level. Later on, he started selling the product, the very product he claimed that he was basically collecting, and I'm pretty sure he was collecting from other people. There's a lot more people that were making that paint. A lot of people were making it. But Jamie was going on and stealing their ideas. He was taking their ideas and guaranteeing that we're doing something together for a community, and he wasn't. He had other intentions involved. See, Fernando, we saw the devil coming. We saw you. I saw your intentions. As I told you, as a Christian, you have that ability to see the layer that most people will never see because they don't have that holy guidance. And we saw what you were doing. So we saw that he was collecting these green paints from these other people and he was taking their ideas and claiming them to be his own. Those are other people's products. Did you know that? All those mixes he was making, those belong to other people. So these people pretty much were hobbyists. They were just people that weren't taking the business seriously. They were hobbyists at the end of the day, but still, it was their product. So it shows a track record of this individual has been stealing for a very long time. And like I said, whoever is in the dark comes out into the light. They will start showing their true colors. You will see them exactly how they are. Like the whole trademark and the copyrights and the patents with those other companies. You will see this now come out in crystal clear so you can't deny it. It's right there. So we denied him, of course, and we went about our business. And this is where he started these nasty campaigns about our company because he was bitter and upset by saying that we are ripping people off. We're scammers. Don't trust us. Don't buy from us. Now, Fernando, what you did at the end of the day was you openly attacked a Christian. That's what you did. I don't know if you're a God-fearing man, but I'm explaining something to you about people that are not God-fearing people. You will become one. It's not where I'm sitting there telling you at the end of the day that, oh, I'm using the Lord to threaten you. No, no, no. You will become one. I actually was an un-God-fearing man. I didn't fear God in any way whatsoever. And I learned a valuable lesson. When you got a 357 silver chrome sitting on the top of your forehead, right, resting on your forehead, you realize this is not a person you want to play around with. That justice came extremely quick for me. And then it continued to go on. It never stopped. God knows how far it would have went. But I'm glad that the Lord didn't follow through, because if he did follow through, I'd have been gone a long time ago. I would never be here having this conversation. So I learned from that experience, through my trials and tribulations with Christ. Even when I wasn't saved, I learned how the Lord protects his people. So I know in my situation that I'm in right now, anyone who comes against me, I know what you're going to go through. Now, I've been through it. I fought God on every level you could possibly think of. Every single level you could possibly think. I fought him. And I've seen the outcome of it all, and none of it was good. I see how he protects his people. I explained to you how I got angry at that priest, and I walked into that church with a kitchen knife, waiting to attack him, and I couldn't move. My whole body was paralyzed. It scared the daylights out of me. So I've seen that happen. I actually went through that. I witnessed that. How the Lord protects his people. Everything I tried to attack a Christian never worked. It ended up in the worst way you could possibly ever think of. But, I had to go through all this trials and tribulations. I had to learn. The Lord was guiding me and getting me ready for my next stages in life. So he just openly attacked us. Made all kinds of false rumors. This is before he started doxing our addresses and stuff like that. He started leveling up and doing even worse stuff to us. So then after that, he started incorporating other people. He started doing fake demonstrations against our products. He printed out our labels, put black paint in them. And even though we went out and did all this testing, all this hard work to provide a good product, we were blessed because the Lord continued to still bless us. We have this thing we used to call ship out dates. And ship out dates, you just see tables covered with orders after orders after orders after orders after orders after orders. The Lord was blessing us. Even though the devil was trying his hardest, the Lord was blessing us. Now, he may sit back and say, why do you call me the devil? Because you are the devil. You serve the devil. Anyone, you don't have to be the devil himself, Lucifer himself, but you do serve the devil. You're not serving God. God does not teach hatred. God does not teach revenge. God does not teach destruction and killing, murdering, cheating, stealing, robbing. He doesn't teach any of that. Who teaches that? Satan teaches that. So that makes you of the devil. So, because we have to clear that up, because again, he goes into these rants where he feels that he's being attacked. Jamie, you can't go out and attack people and they get mad because someone tells you that you're serving the devil because you're attacking people at the end of the day. That we can't call you God, and then the case and say you're serving God. That would be backwards. That'd get me in trouble. No, we don't go down that road. No, it is what it is. Truth is truth. So, after running these campaigns, he started attacking our families. He was reaching out to family members. Even my late mother, he was reaching out, sending letters to her with disturbing and very disturbing writings in it. Mind you, you have to pay for all that. You have to understand, Fernando, from the day you bumped into me, and God knew your intentions were to do wrong against my company and our blessings, everything you did, even the things you can't even remember, everything you did is written in the book of life. I'm sorry, not book of life, it's a book of judgment. You get this mixed up, book of judgment. It's written in there. You'll have to pay for all those sins. If God forbid, if you pass off this earth today or tomorrow, you are without hope. You're without mercy. You will pay for everything you did. To me or anybody else, you'll pay for it. Now, if anyone believes at the end of the day that everything I'm speaking from my mouth is a lie, I'll let the chat open for that purpose. If you feel that I pick up a book and read it. Pick up the Bible and read it. If you think I'm lying. See where it says, anywhere in there where God says that he is for vengeance, hatred, and the things that this man has done. And there's nothing in there at all, period, about that. So, after attacking us, he doxed addresses and carried on. Now, for him to sit there and say, no, Jamie, we didn't dox your address. We didn't even have your address. We didn't even know where you were located at. That's why if you look at the document under the cease and desist order by the attorney, it says 317 Kern Street. It doesn't have your address on it. You know why? Because we thought that was your address. That's your brother's address you were using to commit crimes. You were using his address. We didn't know where you were at. We knew where you're at. That letter would have been addressed to you. Now, if you look at the process server that came to your front door, it has your address on it. That's where the process server was standing, in front of your door, because we had your official address. You're hiding behind addresses. Every address I have, I lived at those addresses. Every single one of them. You didn't live at that address at all, period. You were at that address. Whatever's in the dark comes out in the light. Remember, Fernando. Remember that saying. So, a customer of yours was very upset about the paint he ordered from you, and he posted an address, which was your real address. Whatever's in the dark comes out in the light. And as we looked at this address, like, wait, that's his address? Because we had all these different aliases for his address. I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We can't say this is his address because we don't know. So we're going to basically just post it without saying nothing. That's what we're going to do. Because it's already there. It's already posted. The guy posted on Facebook. It's everywhere. So we're not doing anything wrong by just posting it. So he came in ranting and screaming and carrying on, talking about, oh, you doxed my address, I'm going to throw you in jail, and this, that, and the other, so forth and so forth. Well, Fernando, the interesting thing about that theory, and I'm sorry to bring this up on this level, not trying to be what's the word for it? Not trying to be petty about this, but it's true. You can't go to court. You don't have documentation. You need documentation to take someone to court. You have to have all that. Now, no, he's not documented. He's not documented at all. And he came at us, and we'll talk about that one too, when he ranted at us about how we're now racist because we went in and made a statement that we're going to have to call ICE. ICE has to get involved in this now because you are committing crimes in the United States. See, whatever's in the dark comes out in the light, but I'll explain that one too. So, as we got the person posted his address, we went in and we didn't say it belonged to anybody. We just said, look, we found it on Facebook. That was it. And he went off. Now, why would a person go off if that wasn't their address? So you literally just told us that's where you're at. Now we know 100% where you sit at. So, with that being said, later on, he still ranted about throwing us in jail and all this stuff at the end of the day. Well, he went out and made an LLC. Why did he make an LLC? Because we had an LLC. Jamie copies everything we do. We change our containers, he had the same containers. For people sitting there saying, oh, he doesn't? Well, my specification sheet sitting on the eBay account over there is ours. That's mine. So if I'm a person who is supposed to be this scammer, I'm a person who you can't trust at the end of the day on the things that I do, and everything I say out of my mouth is just a complete lie, why would you take my specification sheet? That'd be the last thing I'd take from somebody. I don't take your specification sheet. You know why? Because you don't know what the heck you're talking about. So I don't want to look like I don't know what I'm talking about. If I'm going to take someone's specification sheet, I'm going to take it from somebody who knows what they're talking about. When you go to school, and I hate this is not, you shouldn't cheat, but when you copy from an exam, you don't copy off the kids that don't get good grades. You copy off the kids who get excellent grades because you want to make sure you pass. So if we are all these things you said I am to be, why would you take my specification sheet? You did it twice to us. Because you don't know what you're doing. I asked you a series of questions. These are questions that any form site will ask you. These are questions that any distributorship contract will ask you. They're basic, simple questions about your own product. And you reply back by stealing ours. Our specification sheet's not going to help you. It just puts you in a much deeper hole. Because now you got to explain about something you never even tested. That makes it far worse. So, again, you see it. You see the cheating. You see the lying. You see the stealing. You see it in them all the time. So, with that being said, not being to have our products, not being to take our blessings from us, he became enraged. And he started saying, okay, well, if we can't bring his company down, because his orders are still pushing in, we seem to not be slowing this guy down. Of course, it's not just me, Jamie. You're not slowing God down. That's who you're fighting against, God. You can't bring him down. That's the one who protects us. That's the one that blesses us with our blessings, is God. It says it right there on our website. We're Christian. We've been Christians since day one. I was Christian since the first day I went in the lockup. That's how deep my roots are with God. Before you guys even knew who I was, before I even started any of this stuff. Heck, I didn't even know how to build those machines over there at that particular point. I learned all that from God. So, with that being said, I had this relationship with Jesus for a very long time. And you know, when you're a Christian, you're going to come under prosecution. For you Christians out there, at the end of the day, you will come under prosecution from the world and from those within the world who do not like your point of views and who you are. They will prosecute you. But just remember, stay strong because the Lord is with you. When you read your Bible, you'll read about many apostles who have been in the Bible, who have go through all different types of prosecution. Some were thrown in jail. Some went through some pretty bad ordeals. But in the end, the Lord had their back no matter what. That's how it works. You are protected by God. So whatever these people of this world who try to prosecute you, do not hate them. Do not give them the same energy to give you back. Don't ignore that. Give it to Jesus. That's what you do. When that hatred starts kicking in, you give it to Jesus. Never let the devil lay foundation in your heart. Never do that. But anyway, now, this individual went out and started attacking my family members. He started contacting their addresses. And then he brought other people with him to help him do the job, which we have one under the name of Derek Franklin III. Derek Williams Franklin III is a fellow who over in Baltimore, Maryland, who has made contact with our office multiple times. Outcome for him is not good. Trust me, it's not good. Especially by court, in the courts, it's not going to be too good for him. It's not good for him at all, period. But this is what the devil got them into. It's following Satan. This is where his situation goes at. Mind you, when I explain to you people, and they look at it in a way where they say, well, no, gentlemen, you do not have a future here on this planet. Why? Because the crimes that you have committed, and the Lord will see it through, that you are prosecuted for these things. Now, of course, that's mercy. He's merciful. But just like me, I went out and committed crimes. So did I get away with all that because I became a Christian? No. I did 8 years and 9 months in the prison system. That's what I did. You are going to have to serve this time. Now, whatever the Lord decides and what time you're going to do, that's what you're going to do. But you're going to do some time. You're going to spend some time in the system. So your future here in this world is pretty much, I could say, maybe over, because this life of yours is done. You're going to be in a system. And from the amount of charges that we have that are being filed and the conspiracy that you guys work together to try to bring my company down, this could carry 10, 20-year prison sentences easy. And you guys are old. Mind you, when I went into the system, I was like 16. I was young. So I had 20 years to kill when I was in there. Didn't want to do 20 years, trust me. But I had 20 years. I had 10 years of my life. I have to pay for this. So 10 years of my life can come out of this. I'll come out when I'm 26. So, yeah, I had that time. But, 16 years old, no relationship. I had one job, and that's basically about it. And pretty much nothing. So I really didn't have much to think about when I was in there but getting saved, getting my life together with God. I had no one family to miss, or my own immediate family, but that's my family. I see them when they come down. But still, I did miss them and all. But it's different when you're married. It's different when you have kids. It's different when you build a life with somebody and you're no longer going to be there for quite a long time because of what you did. That's very hard to go through. You have to pause and sit in a cell and watch your life pass you by while you sit there waiting for your time to be released. That's very hard to do. So you're going to learn a lot in this situation. You're going to learn a lot in this situation. So this life you're living now, I know you feel that you won't be prosecuted for it. You attacked a Christian. God will see it through. And in two ways this can come out. A way where if the Lord decides it is your time to come back, because you do belong to him at the end of the day. You're on borrowed time. You got to remember that. This is not your world, not your time. You're on borrowed time. He may request what belongs to him back. And if he does, that means you pass off the earth. And if you pass off the earth and you haven't been saved, you haven't picked up your cross and followed Jesus, and it shows that you prosecuted one of his own people, what do you think is going to happen in the next world? You're going to meet the one that's been telling you, the one that's been talking to you and communicating with you. You're going to meet him. And you're going to see, you may, and I'm pretty sure you will, see him in his true form, which nobody wants to see that. You're going to be trapped with it. You're forever. That's what you're facing. Your judgment's coming. So, he brought other people involved in this. Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams came on into our company and he dressed himself as a minister, a man of God. And he prosecuted me. He said that I was not a Christian. He said I was a fake Christian. He said I was working with the devil. Very dangerous things to say, Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams said he was a holy man of God and all these things. Remember, Williams, whatever's in the dark comes out into the light. Remember that. So, as Mr. Williams proceeded to contact our company, things started to change about his email. There was curse words in the email. There were very nasty things he was saying in the email. This is not a man of God. Whoever's in the dark comes out in the light. So showing your shoe collar colors what you were. And then I noticed when I went to your Facebook page, I can see that the entire area where your face was at was copied and pasted. Because I went to the back Google Lens check and it came up under no church. Which now we got questions coming up. How is this man on here asking for donations for money and yet he has no church? So I asked you some very simple questions. I asked you, what school did you go to get your doctorate from? What Bible school did you go to? When did you graduate? Can we see a clergy ID? Here's basic questions anyone's going to ask you. And you responded by 3 rants on a short video in front of a Burlington Coat Factory. That does not say it doesn't say at the end of the day that you have went to college and got a degree and you got a church, and I asked who your people who follow you and where you study. That doesn't sound like a person who has answers. That's like a person who got busted and the retaliation is cursing and carrying on, which you continue to do. Curse and carry on and act up. You started showing who you really are. And then you decided to start sending mail over here, carrying on. And a lot of this mail was for gay cruise ships. He sent a lot of that stuff over for gay cruise ships. So as now, what they're painting the picture of is Mr. Williams is mentally unstable, but not only mentally unstable, but he has some kind of attraction toward me because he sent a lot of this stuff over, including half-naked pictures of himself on a postcard. And the worst thing about that is, and the reason why there's federal agencies involved in this, because Mr. Williams, usually when you send something through like that, it has to be covered. It's a law. So it has to be covered up. You didn't cover up any of these postcards. You had them out in the open, which means a child could have saw this, which a child did see it. Did you know that? Yeah. So one of my not so much of a child, but she's special needs. She was staying with my sister for a while, and she does have some special needs. She has a mind of a child. She saw the picture. Do you understand what you did, Mr. Williams? Do you understand the concept of what you did? This is a woman who has special needs, and she has a mind of a child. And your postcard, she went down to get the mail and she saw that postcard. So they're going to file against you for you're going to call you're a pedophile. That's what they're going to file against you. That you went out and you basically sent those postcards to. What if the sometimes people stack mail on top of the boxes. What if they put it up there? What if the wind blew it? There's kids all through that whole neighborhood. What if any one of those kids would have picked up and saw those images? Do you know how much damage you would have caused to the funeral home that you used their address without permission? That's what he did. He went in and used the address of a funeral home that's not too far from his building. And imagine if those cards had blew off. Imagine some child picked that up. Kids pick up and carry things everywhere. And you're home and your child comes in, shows them that card. What would your attitude be? You'd be furious. You'd be very upset. Because your job is to protect your child at all costs. And the fact that they saw that is going to anger you. And what's the first thing you're going to do? Look over and figure out where it came from. And you're going to notice it came from a funeral home in Baltimore. You could have got this man killed. Who knows what the reaction people will have at the end, especially when it comes to their kids. You could have gotten this man hurt. Seriously, this man could have been walking on this door, mind his own business. Imagine if he got jumped or attacked or shot. Anything happened to him or got locked up. You know how messed that is? If it got out, and he wouldn't have lasted long, anything could have happened when he's in the holding system, in the holding cell. If it had got out that he was running a funeral home and he was sending, they don't know that's him or not. They don't know who he is over there. He doesn't know. They're just using someone's address. Imagine if he was in the holding cell and sometimes they let it get out. Like, hey, guy over here, right here, sent naked pictures. You know, a little girl picked it up. It could have got that man killed. All kinds of stuff happened in the holding pen. Because you're in the middle of a police station don't mean jack. You can get jumped in there. So imagine they beat that man. He didn't do nothing wrong. Because you, who claim yourself being a man of God, a person who serves the Lord, decided to take a half-naked picture of yourself and put it on a postcard and send it to the post office for everyone to see. They saw it too. Women who worked there saw that mess and used someone else's address that would take the blame for it. That does not sound like a man of God. That sounds like Lucifer, the devil. So, You're out of yourself. You are who you are. And now Mr. Williams has some very interesting documents that were slammed against him that if we're contacted, he's going to jail. Also, too, Mr. Williams, that's not the end of it. We're coming to Baltimore, Maryland. Yes, we are. We're coming there. There's a courthouse not too far on the edge that we have to go and we have to file charges against you. We're looking to get maybe, hopefully, a 40 to 50-year prison sentence for you. Because you have to pay for this stuff. You have to pay for what you did. That big chunk of mail we got in there, a judge is going to see all that, including your naked pictures. And the pamphlets that we are sending out, because we have a right to do it, it's your stuff, right? I'm sending it right back, but I'm sending it to people at the end of the day that can handle the situation. They'll get a chance to see your work, so they know at the end of the day that when we talk to the lawyer about lawsuits, we can say, yes, we did share this information with them. They are fully aware of the situation. They can't say at the last minute, this is why you have to share this information with them, because they'll say in court that, well, we didn't know anything about this. They just hit this with us off the bat. We can get time to prepare. They can say that in court. So that's why we share the information with them, so they fully understand the impact that's about to happen. Can't say that in court. We didn't have time. Oh, yes, they did have time to prepare, Your Honor. We sent them out several packets of Mr. Williams' work. They all got it. They are fully aware of what's going on. You have no proceed. We move on. We get ready to file this lawsuit. That's why you have to let the other party know. Anyway, because I've been through suing people before and all that nonsense. Anyway, so with that, Mr. Williams, that's what he's been doing with his time, instead of doing something else, but the blessing that the Lord gave you. And as for Mr. Rogers, which is a really strange name, by the way, it's an interesting name. It's not strange, it's an interesting name. Danny Rogers. Danny Rogers stepped in because Danny Rogers tried to make a black paint. Try to make a black paint. It would have been interesting if you made a black paint just for the sake of making a black paint for something cool. That'd have been nice. You know what I mean? I would support that 100%. Why not? You can't cut into my profits. Why would I feel at the end of the day, and this is the part that baffles me, gentlemen, when you send me emails saying me, oh, your business is over. Your business is over because Danny's making his black product and he's going to put you out of business. You end up on the street and so forth. You know how sad that sounds? Do you know where that blessing came from? That came from God. There could be 100,000 companies out there making black paint, and still we will be doing what we do every single day. Our businesses will not fail. Our business will not fall apart. Our businesses will not crumble. They will not. You know why? Because my Lord leads the charge in my business, my company. Do you understand the concept of it all? When I was making gray paint, do you have how many different people were making gray paint? There were hundreds of them making gray paint. But because we dedicated our company, because the Lord is the one who spoke to me and gave me that blessing, that technology took off. It took off higher than anyone else's great screen paint, except for Goose Screen. Goose Screen was already up there, but it took off. So it tells you, I learned from that experience that when I have people that are constantly hitting me up and saying, hey, look, my product's going to be better than yours, and and, you're going to put your business under, so forth. And your intentions are to basically destroy what I have built. I don't worry about that because I watch my technology peak above everyone else's when I had great screen paint. That's why I have the evidence to back everything up. I got to make a website on that too, by the way. Yeah. Everything you tried failed. So Danny came in and tried to make these mixtures, and Danny didn't understand black technology. He couldn't pick it up, didn't understand. He kept making mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. Products weren't working right. They were failing horribly on camera. And then he brought in McAfee to try to review the product for him, and he failed. He brought in Jamie to try to review the product, and he failed. Just nothing was working out. The product turned out to be a fail. You know why? Because what do you think was going to happen, Rogers? You thought you were going to come out there, prosecute my religion, prosecute the things I say out of my mouth, call me a liar, say I'm a scammer, say all these nasty things about me, and you think you're going to overpower our blessings? That you're going to come in and topple our blessings? What kind of Lord would I have at the end of the day if I can't trust him to have our back, especially when the blessings he gives us? You failed. And the reason why you failed, because you came against God. I'm not God at the end of the day. I'm a servant. But you came against God, the one who protects us. And he did exactly as he's been doing for years for us. Anyone that comes against us, doesn't go well. Now, for those of you who are saying, well, Ken, you went out, you tried to... No, I didn't try to destroy the companies. It is what it is. Black technology is the best. It is. On every level, it is the best. I've made gray screen paints. I've been there. I've done it. I've done gray screen paints on levels that people today who make gray screens have not even reached yet. I've been there and done it. I've made hologram technology. I made gunmetal technology. I even changed the color of paints. We've done visible technology on so many different levels. It's not even funny. And now, even the ambient rejection technology that we possess is beyond everybody else's because we're outside doing demonstrations at 50 to 300 lumens. You know how insane that sounds? It baffles me when I'm out there sometimes on those demonstrations. I still can't believe I'm out there. It's a shock and awe. Like at one point, we're outside with a 50 lumen projector watching a fireplace push through in sunlight. It's baffling for me to see all this. So it shows me how our Lord has been directing our company, not only basically with technology, but basically with wisdom to give us understanding on how to run a company. Mine, when I first started off, I didn't have any degree in business or finances or any of that stuff. I had to fill out paperwork. I had to do contracts, none of that stuff. Lord blessed us and gave us the knowledge to do all that. The same thing with the computers back there. That's how I learned all that stuff because God gave me that knowledge to do it. So not only is he going to bless you with the ability to be able to have the blessing, but to be able to maintain the blessing. He's always going to give you that ability. He's never going to leave you out in the open where you don't have. I'm speaking to two types of people. I'm speaking to young Christians and other Christians around the world about how the Lord doesn't let you down, and he's always going to be there with you. I'm a perfect example of my story about everything that I went through to become the man that I am today. And I'm still working hard. I'm still working hard every day to correct myself, constantly correcting, constantly fixing. No Christian knows everything. That's virtually impossible. We're all learning. It's a learning process for us. But I learned in this process that, do I hate these people who came at me like this? No, I have no hatred for you. Now, you feel I hate you because I am filing lawsuits against you. You feel I hate you because I'm filing criminal charges against you. This has to be done. You committed a crime. I have no hatred for the judge. I have no hatred for the person who sat in court and pointed me out. I have no hatred for any of them. I did this. I made the mistake. You have to learn to accept what you have done. And as you guys like to say, for the first time in your life, be a man. You have to be that man. You committed these crimes. You're going to have to walk through that fire. Now, you got an option there. You can walk through that fire with the devil, or you can walk through that option with God at the end of the day. But am I going to sit there and lose my salvation, everything I worked hard for, and for hatred for other people because they came out and attacked me and my family? No, I'm not doing that. I did that one already. It cost me 8 years of my life, 8 years and 9 months of my life doing that one. So I'm not going to betray my Lord what I'm blessed to have. For those who want to sit there and say that, oh, he's a scammer, he's a ripoff. Well, look, we have a contract. My Lord is the one who gave me that idea. It's simple. It's basic. Sign the contract. Come down here to Allentown, PA. We'll go to court, and you prove your theory that I'm supposed to be this person. But the Lord said put a penalty in there. The Lord is the one that told us to ask for $1 million. And when someone sat there and said, well, you don't have $1 million. No, I don't have $1 million, but I know my product. I know what my Lord blessed me to have. I have faith in it 100%. I do these demonstrations every single day. I got demonstrations to do today. I do them every day. So I have faith in what my Lord gave me. So I have no problem walking in the courtroom with that. No problem whatsoever. But as you can see, no one's ever signed it. That tells you right there all together. The Lord will expose those who do what they do. Daniel McAfee. Daniel McAfee, we did not even know who Daniel McAfee. Just like Rogers. We know Rogers wasn't know Daniel McAfee. We didn't know either one of them at all. He just popped up and started claiming his name was Silent Wake 5 when he first started off, and he came in with this YouTube handle, and you notice every time Jamie did Crowcast, he never put in his real name. He put in Silent Wake 5 every single time. This is a person who did not want his real name to be known. McAfee, you went and attacked a Christian, didn't you? So you went in and took our product, you made a fake receipt, went in and took the copyrighted material and pasted it to the receipt and did a fake unboxing on our products. And mind you, you didn't do this just to me, you did it to God too. This is God's technology also. So mind you, you did this not only to me, gentlemen, you did it to God also. So you went in and made this fake receipt and did a fake unboxing with our address attached to it and claimed that you got the product from us. And then you proceeded, which we have YouTube videos, to go on your channel and claim that our products came out that dark. This is one of JB's friends, his group. They all got together and had this conspiracy. Gentlemen, I want you to know something. Everything you did in secret, everything that you thought that no one else knew, God was watching you the entire time and writing down all your sins into the book of judgment. You got away with nothing at all, period. Not a thing. Not a thing. But I want you to remember that. So, they decided to bring him in. And his part of the campaign was to go in and do fake unboxings on our products. So he was claiming he was getting these items from us. And he was showing these fake receipts. So we even have a thumbnail of his face with the picture of the receipts right next to him. Now, that's heavy evidence. That's extremely heavy evidence. That's a very serious charge. We got identity theft there. We got forgery. We got a copyright infringement because our cube is on there. There's a whole lot of stuff on there. Mr. McAfee, you could end up getting easy a 30, 40, 50-year prison sentence for that. You have little ones, don't you? You have little ones that I'm pretty sure you're hoping to grow up with. You're pretty sure hoping to watch them walk down the aisle and get married. And I'm pretty sure you want to see all that. What father would not want to see all that? But look at the situation you put yourself in. And then you didn't learn anything from that. You could see that to go back in and do a false demonstration against a product we had called a Phantom. And you went and did fake demonstrations there in that video, which we have documented for court. Now, in that video, he claimed that the Series C was this very dark screen paint, and mind you, the entire time the screen was gray. So you lied on camera to, I guess, whatever customer base he has, to tell them that they were looking at a black screen. One, it was not a black screen. It was basically a gray screen the entire time. Whatever's in the dark comes out into the light. Remember that. So what happened in the video? In the video, a Starfield just popped up out of nowhere. And it showed the true color of the screen that you were telling people was a black screen. Mind you, through the whole demonstration, he stated it was a black screen, right? That's what you said. You stated black screen, right? So what happened when the Starfield came up? The screen went gray. And then you proceeded to go in and lie to the customers, telling them that it was a different type of black screen. Even though we couldn't see it was gray. It was definitely gray. No doubt about it. So you got outed there. But remember, you went in and took the Phantom. Guess what the Phantom is? A Phantom is a technology that the Lord blessed us to have. So technology is one of our blessings. And you took one of our blessings and tried to taint it to make it look like something awful. What do you think the Lord was going to do? The Lord was not going to allow that to go on like that. He outed you for who you are. And then after going through that ordeal, what did you do? You came back in and you started cursing and ranting. Now the Lord is showing the world who you are. About how we don't know what we're talking about. We all saw it. We all saw your screen turn gray. Well, his screen turned gray. We all saw it. Just like the other darker mix he had was a gray mixture. We watched him stir the can up with a knife. It was dark in there, but when he painted to the surface, it was gray. Did the exact same thing too. So we watched all those products fail. And then McAfee, who was went by the name Solomon 5, again, we prayed and asked the Lord that we need to know who he is. And sure enough, McAfee attacked my Facebook page. And when he attacked my Facebook page, he left his page completely open. Which now we duplicated the page. We have everything we need from there. We have your real name, Daniel McAfee. Which is interesting about your name is because a guy I was locked up with was named McAfee. I'll never forget that guy. And McAfee is Irish. You're Irish. I know that for a fact. Because as I said before, we had four of them in there. We had O'Neill. There was another guy in there. It was a bunch of them. But O'Neill, I remember O'Neill. O'Neill, you couldn't forget him. O'Neill was a jokester. But McAfee was another one. And all four of them always hung together. We just call them the Lucky Charm crew. And no, it wasn't racist. They cracked up about it. As a matter of fact, they loved the name so much they incorporated the Lucky Charms crew. But anyway, it was four of them, and they were all from Ireland. Well, not all from Ireland. Well, actually, one was from Ireland. The other one was they were basically from America, but they still had that accent. But they were interesting guys to hang around with. But anyway, I remember that last name, McAfee. I do remember that one. And then later on, I had a friend of mine named Daniel. Me and him were really good friends. I was going, Daniel the Dinosaur is the nickname I gave him. He was a real tall guy. I got the name Dinosaur because in the supermarket, I could literally see his whole body, like half of his. He's a tall dude, like some goes clear 7 feet tall. He's a really tall guy. In the supermarket, you can stand back and you can watch him move back and forth. Look at him. Looks like Godzilla raiding a city. And look at him because you can see him walking back and forth, picking up stuff. And he got the name Daniel the Dinosaur. That's where he got it from. So those two people that I knew that were good friends of mine, your name pops up as Daniel McAfee. Isn't that interesting? How that all played out. We got your real name. And then we got your real name is, the Lord blessed us to figure out where you're at. You're in Flushington, Ohio, population, probably a little grower now, but 800 people. You're in a small town. They're sending a private investigator to a small town to find you would take less than hours to figure out where you're at. And you can't just up and go. We know that from the door. You got a house that you own. You can't just up and go. You own the property. We know that. Because here's the thing. Certain keywords people say. If a person is in the process of being sued, what they'll say is that, well, good luck on taking the house. The bank owns it first. I pay a mortgage. Because that's what they'll say. Because technically we can't take the house if the bank owns it. But what they'll do is they'll sue you for a lot of money, knowing that you can't make the payments on the house, and then that way the house will go for foreclosure. It's another way to get around it. So, with that being said, most people would have made that statement. You didn't make that statement. You said he's trying to take my house, which means in terms you own the property. And doing the background check, we found out you do own that house. So yes, we can take your house from you because you owe us a considerable lot of money. The copyrighted cube alone in that letter, when you took the pictures right next to your face, making statements that you got a receipt from us, that copyright alone, that little cube that you took, could give you 20 years in jail. It's copyrighted. It could give you a good maybe 20 years in the prison system, easily. And then you got forgery, and you got fraud, and all that. Fraud's another, 20 years right there. And then you got slander, and you got freaking, one that made false accusations against my company. You end up getting 60, 70 years for this mess. And did you know me, McAfee? You didn't know me. You didn't know anything about me. You didn't reach out to me and say, hey, buddy, there's a guy over here making these accusations about you. And we could have been good friends at the end of the day. You could have got to know me and said, okay, he's not like this. He's not the type of person. You didn't even call me, did you? None of you did. Any of you called me to say, hey, what kind of person are you? Anybody? No one called me, right? Y'all just jumped off the door from Jamie's lies. And Jamie, mind you, you're the one that's got to pay the most. Because you're the one under the most judgment. You're the one who started all this. You're under God's judgment. All of them are under God's judgment, but you're under the most. Because you're the one who campaigned, spearhead all that nonsense, following the devil. And your outcome's not always so well, buddy. It isn't. So, none of y'all called me. Not one of y'all. I had 800 number there. You could have called me. Why didn't anybody call me? See what kind of person I was. None of y'all did, right? Y'all just accused me openly of being this person. For no reason at all whatsoever. Just prosecuted me, right? What are you, Williams, the man who calls himself a man of God? We had you on voice recording multiple times that you contacted me. Even me having a conversation with you, asking me, why are you attacking me? I don't know you. You didn't know me. How would you have known what kind of person I am? You've never talked to me. And what did you say? It doesn't make a difference if I call you or not. What's up, da-da-da. You are a scammer. You're a scammer. That's what you are. You're a thief. You're a scammer. That's what you said, right? That doesn't sound like a man of God to me. Oh, by the way, in those packets is a whatchamacallit, little flash drive in there. And in those flash drives, those videos shows you on your Facebook page of you asking for donations. Also, too, because you're not going to steal from our Lord. It's not going to happen. You're not stealing from God. It's donations, which you had your videos and stuff you did. They're all on there. Also, to the video voice recordings that you were sending out and carrying on when you were contacting our business and that nonsense. It's all in there for them. All the letters, everything. Even the first letter that came over showing you were stalking us from the garage all the way from here. So all that's going to be there for all of them to see this. This will be going out to your social workers, case workers, higher-ups over the managers that actually own the building. Even the building owners themselves will be receiving those packages. So quite a few people are going to be getting those packages, including the funeral home. They'll be getting that information too. So there will be some people reaching out to you and the building and everything else about the situation and problems we had from that building. Now, what are you going to say, gentlemen, about that? Oh, that's wrong. I shouldn't do that. So I should not go out and defend myself. The Lord should not go out and defend us or help us in any way. He should allow these people to do their evil acts. And if we try to defend ourselves, we're evil people. We're the bad people at the end of the day if we try to defend ourselves. Gentlemen, I've seen your kind throughout my entire life of being a Christian. And I am not going to allow anyone to intimidate me. I'm not going to allow anyone to try to discourage me from doing what I got to do. I'm going to do everything I have to do. That's what I'm going to do. And if, like I said, if you feel in any way that anything I say here on this YouTube channel, if you feel that anything that I have done and I am all these things, and this is what you do. You sign the contract. You meet us over here in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and we go to court. But keep in mind, this is going to be some prison time behind this because, again, some of you do have charges we have filed against you, and there is a $1 million you'll have to pay out. Now, again, we've been to this before. We'll execute judgment. We'll go from there, and that's how they take it through debt collectors and whatever. It goes from there. Now, again, they'll look at this like, oh, he's prosecuting. How would that be prosecuting? So let me get this straight. So you commit crimes on the earth. You die. You go to hell. You sit there and look at God and go, oh, you're prosecuting me by sending me to hell. You're going to hell because you basically committed sin. And that's why you're going to hell. So if you're here, and the Bible says you have to obey two laws, the law of the land and the law with God. And the law of the land, if you go out and rob a bank and you basically steal from them, guess what that means in the day? Go to jail. It's all in the process. Where these Karens come from with this stuff? At the end of the day, it's unbelievable. It's a shame. Now, do I hate these individuals? No, I don't hate you. Like I told you before, 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, however it was, when I was a young buck, I'd run the streets carrying on and acting up, and I had that violent mentality. If I hated you, and I know people, I could easily pick up a phone and make a phone call. It didn't make a difference what part of the world you're in at the end of the day. I did some things at the end of the day that I'm owed. I'm owed a lot. And when I went through the system, I didn't snitch on anybody. I took that whole 8 years and 9 months to myself. Because you know why? I did all that destruction, but I knew people. And I didn't bring them into it. It was none of their business at the end of the day. It was just me only. That's how I saw it. I'm the one that committed this crime. That's me. When their time comes, they'll go through their pathway. But my pathway is my pathway, and that's what I'm taking. Now, I could have got a plea deal. Could have got a lot of things out of that, but I didn't take it. And because I didn't take it, and I sat there and kept my mouth shut, I know people at the end of the day that will pay back my favor. Now, that would be walking in the terms of the devil, wouldn't it? Engaging in someone that I know that will potentially hire particular individuals or professionals at that to handle a situation of a debt that needs to be collected. But I didn't do that, did I? Gentlemen, there's a lot of things you don't know about me at the end of the day. And one thing you don't know about is my deep, dark past. And now, yes, I have some very heavy connections, but I don't involve myself in that world anymore. That world died a long time ago when I sat there and I was placed under that water. When I was placed under that holy water and those sins were lifted from me, that person died. And that person will stay dead forever. So when I went through the system, I kept my mouth shut. Now, we know how that works out in the streets. Everybody knows how that works out in the streets. When my time came out and these people made contact with me, I explained to them, I'm not the same person anymore. I'm different. I changed. I'm a man of God. And they respected that and went about their business. And I myself, well, I went about my business too. And I've had people come up and make me angry. I had people come up and try to do nasty things to me. And I could have made a phone call and I could have taken care of it, but I didn't. I stuck to what I believe in, is letting the Lord handle my problems, not getting involved in these things. Now, in the situation, I'm about to be blessed, and very soon with all this beautiful technology and my blessings that my Lord has given to me, we're about to be very, very wealthy. And in the process of being very wealthy, we had to get ready for this stage because I knew the devil would come at me 10 times stronger than he's ever had before. He'll bring people into my path and bad women that I don't want into my life. That's why I'm happy. I'm a celibate. I give my life to God. I'm married to God. So that doesn't work. It's not going to happen ever. I have been down a situation where I've had great wealth and had money and gave up and dropped my cross for it and was left with an empty void of sadness and pain. So now I don't chase money anymore. That's gone. And I had been put through a test because at one point I was an extremely violent individual. That, again, like I said, at that era, I would have taken your life without crease, without no problem whatsoever. It would have meant nothing to me at all. Just another person, another day. But through being saved, through being with Jesus, and going through that long road of trials and tribulations of 8 years and 9 months of my life, I learned at the end of the day that vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, and thou shalt not kill. I learned that. It's a lesson that I always will keep with me. Now, people at the bottom, I'm not reading your messages. I'm not reading them. I'm not reading them. I'm not. I don't engage in that. I don't read that. I don't engage in it. Now, some of you could be saying something nice. Some of you could be saying something evil. I don't engage in that. I left it open because I want other people to see what's going on. They can read that at the bottom. That's for them to read, not for me. The Lord said, don't read that. Don't engage in that. So when I look at where it says where how many people are in the room and how much time I'm here. That's what I see. I don't see anything below the bottom. All right. So, because I know people are thinking right now that I'm going to say this in these seasons. I don't look at any of those ever. Because what it does is it just lays a foundation for Satan, and I don't get involved in that or any other thing. And I don't want to be in there to judge someone or whatever. I leave it all to God. Everything at the bottom in the comment section is in with the Lord. That's it. So you understand that. I give that to God. All right. So, yeah, I was a very violent individual at that point in my life. And imagine if the Lord blessed me with this wealth. Imagine that I would be to hire mercenaries because I would have the money to pay them. Mercenaries aren't cheap. And I would have that type of money. I would have that type of reach. I would have that kind of power. I'd be a totally different person. So imagine that. You wouldn't be able to survive that. I don't care what the end of the day. You don't see the damage a mercenary. Actually, we have a few in the family. They're not mercenaries, but they're ex-Marines. Whew. I've seen these guys in the shooting range. I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. Like, Uncle Sam trained you for this? It's amazing. Yeah, these guys are pretty handy with weapons and stuff. But like I said, I like guns and stuff at the end of the day too, but and their world's a little different from mine. But anyway, real nice people at the day. Awesome. Real nice people today. Just the way they're trained is freaking awesome. It's insane. You ever seen them work with knives before? You freaking kidding me? It's freaking insane. It's amazing. It's like a whole entire thing is crazy. I've always been obsessed with the Army and different armed forces and stuff like that, and how they're trained, and mostly that focus and discipline that they have at the end of the day. It's interesting to watch. But anyway, so yeah, I could have easily with that type of money and power, but the Lord knew the type of person that I was. That was not the type of person that blessing can be given to. It's kind of like taking a dirty bottle, an old dirty bottle that you find in the trash that's filled with dirt and rust and cobwebs, and you take this fine, exquisite wine, very rare, and you pour that in that dirty bottle. And the wine itself becomes dirty just like the bottle. I wasn't ready for those blessings yet. I had to work to get to that blessing. Due time. I had to work through time. Now, I could have taken money along the way from people who had a lot of money, and it did come my way multiple times. I met some very rich, powerful people who liked my technology and wanted to invest, but the Lord told me no. So I didn't take the money. And these are people that at one point, some of them didn't respect God. And I said no. I took the long way. And now look where I'm at right now. I have a technology that's far better than the technology if I had taken that money at that particular time. That money's not worth anything to me. See, the thing about you individuals who prosecuted me, you made it sound like I'm all for money. I'm just stealing and ripping off from people just to get money, just get money, just money. When it was you doing all that, not me. But you made me sound like that. And then when I sat there and said that, I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm not doing that. You sat there and go, oh yeah, you would do it. You would do it just because you would do it. It's the difference between you. I'm a Christian. I serve God. I can't do that. If I go out and I basically, and you have to be true Christian. There are Christians out there who do steal from God. Mr. Williams, you steal from God. Those are not true Christians at the end of the day. A true Christian wants to be as close to God as he possibly can be. Just like that wallpaper sitting up there on that wall, laying against the foundation, you want to be as close as you can. Close as you can. You can't be because your body is sinful. But you still try to be as close as you possibly can. And when you realize the debt you have to pay back, when Jesus came here and hung himself on that cross, you know the pain he went through? Can you imagine the pain If you laying there and someone taking railroad spikes and driving them through your bone and your flesh, through your feet and hands, and then hanging you so your flesh tears. Can you imagine going through that type of pain? Can you imagine the beatings he went through? They beat him so many times you could see the huge welts and where skin had ripped and open. He was a man. He wasn't a god. He had abilities to have power, but he still felt pain just like me and you. He was a sacrifice for us. Can you imagine being treated that horribly? Even while he hung on that cross, they gambled for his clothes. Can you imagine looking down and seeing all that? Put a crown of thorns on it. That's why I'm very upset by people who wear these crowns of thorns. Do you have any idea what that stands for? That man hung on the cross so you, an ungrateful sinner, can go and be saved. Have mercy. To a God at the end of the day that if he chooses, he doesn't want us. He doesn't want us. God, doesn't need us. He doesn't need anything else at all, period. That's what I find interesting about the Lord. He don't need us. People really believe that God needs us. He needs the people to worship him. If he needs the people to worship him, he can just get rid of all of us and just make a people to worship him. With no problem. No headaches. Nothing. In fact, we're still here. I'm really baffled. I'm really, really baffled. You know, how amazing God is that we're still actually here after all this time. You imagine how much sin, destruction, murder, chaos, stealing, and everything else has been going on this planet from day one, and we're still here? Are you kidding me? How is that even possible? That shows you how much God loves us. If he didn't, we'd be gone a long time ago. And your kids will disappoint you, won't they? You'll have them as babies, you'll look at them and go, oh my goodness, I would give up the world, I would die for this person. And there will be days when you look at them like, oh my goodness, what the freak is wrong with you sometimes? Why did you think that was a good idea to begin with? You'll be scolding them about all kinds of stuff at the end. Oh, you thought it was funny to set that on fire when those are the problem we're in right now. You'll go through all that craziness. And they'll see nothing wrong with it until they have their own kids and they'll be calling you up like, yeah, I'm having a problem with so-and-so. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, welcome to my world. But at the end of the day, you still love them. They're still yours, right? I feel sorry for the people who don't love their kids in the day. Yeah, you'll pay for that one. But anyway, God has unconditional love. But his unconditional love does run out. That's why there's a hell. That's why. There's judgment. That's why. There's punishment. That's why there's vengeance. That's why. You know, I look at the power of God and look at Solomon and Gomorrah. It's going to ruffle some feathers when I say this. I'm going to say it as it is. It is what it is. I'm not going to be the type of person who's going to sit there and be that fake Christian. I'm not going to be that person. God did not like that man was sleeping with man and woman was sleeping with woman. Now people might say, oh, we're going to attack. It doesn't make a difference. You can't attack me. I serve God at the end of the day. The very person that allows your blood to flow through your veins, to connect to your heart, that allows it to pump in order for you to function, walk, talk, and breathe comes from him. If he bats his eye one time, just like that, you don't exist anymore. You're not on this earth anymore. You don't exist. And if he turns 2 steps to the side, Satan himself will tear you to pieces, because that's what he's waiting to do. All day, every day. It's like, imagine, if you will, if you had a man with a scope. You had a dot on you 24/7. All day long, you had this dot on you. No matter where you go, this dot's on you. And all that person would have to do is just pull the trigger and you're going, just like that. That's what Satan is right now. So, I'm going to say what I got to say. Whether people like it or not, whether they support me or not, I'm going to say what I got to say. I'm true to God. When I leave off this earth, I want to be able to have internal spiritual guidance. I want to be able to have peace with God. I want to have eternal life. I want to be true to my Lord. I'm not going to be fake because the world wants me to be fake, because people feel that, oh, I go through cancellation. You know, if I say this, I go through cancellation if I do that. God did not meant for man to man to be together and woman to woman. If you look at Adam and Eve, you'll see Adam and Eve. You don't see Eve and Eve. You don't see Adam and Adam. Solomon and Gomorrah. I have friends of mine that are gay, or gays at the end of the day. Do I sit there and attack? No, I don't have that right. Definitely don't have that right. You don't have a right to attack anybody. So if I sit there and say, oh, because you're gay, you don't have a right to be beaten or whatever. No. Anytime I see any person who's homosexual and they're being attacked, I'm jumping in that fight. I got their back. But I don't believe in what you believe in. I don't believe that you have a right to be attacked. I don't believe that at all, period. You don't have that right to be attacked. Only person has the right to judge you is God. I am not the one to judge you. I just say what is in the Bible, and that's what I say. That's it. You will have if you have the opportunity to be saved, you will be saved. And if you don't, you don't. But I don't believe if someone's homosexual that they should be beaten, they should be touched, because I'm the first one going to jump in that fight and defend them. But I don't believe in what you do. But Sodom and Gomorrah was such a city. Sodom and Gomorrah was a city that a lot of men slept with men and women slept with women. And there were some people in there that were of God, and they did not want to turn in the way of the city. And the Lord sent down angels. Now, these angels, when they came down, were very, very beautiful. Angels are very beautiful. And as they were inside this house, the people saw these men and decided they wanted to make with them. And they started beating on their door, saying that, we want to make with these men inside. They said, no, you don't understand. You don't know what you're up against, what you're dealing with. You don't know. Go away from the house. Go away from the house. Trying to get them to leave. And they even, it's in the Bible, they offered their daughters. So they would not sin greatly. The city would not sin greatly by touching these angels. And they didn't want the daughters. They wanted these men. So now, as the angels went through, they disappeared. Of course, they're heavenly creatures and go where they want to go. They left. So the Lord said, gather up your people and you got to leave. I'm destroying this city. Now, it was Lot's wife. Lot's wife was of that lifestyle. She was, even though he's his wife, she was of that lifestyle. It's going to happen when you're married. You know what I mean? Both of you can start off Christians, and one person can go astray, and they'll be in their own little world. You know what I mean? You try to do your best again to try to help them. When it gets to a point where you can be dragged into it too, all you can do is step back and give it to God. God has to take control of that. But I told you in the Old Testament, God did not play around. He's not one to play around with. So he told him to leave the city. Do not look back. Lot turned around and she looked. His wife turned around and looked, and she was turned into a pillar of salt. Now the hellfire, the destruction that came from God when that city was struck, do you know they found remnants of Sodom and Gomorrah? Do you know when they analyzed the kind of power that struck that city, they said that we don't even have nuclear weapons on this planet to come even close to the destruction that struck that city. We don't have anything. Nothing. Not a thing. Mind you, this is an era where computers and TVs and all the stuff we have now didn't even exist. So what in the world would have caused that type of destruction that we don't have anything on this planet close that could cause that type of destruction? How do you explain that? There's no meteors, there's nothing. There's nothing that could cause that. A meteor strike that size and that caliber would have taken out most of the planet anyway. So that didn't happen. Just the city went down. It didn't blast way over here. It was just contained to the city. So how do you explain that kind of power? That's literally what you're dealing with when you're talking about the Lord. So for the people who felt the need to attack my company, attack my family, attack my business, and to this day you still attack me, do I have any hatred towards you? No. I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you because I know who you follow. And I know his plans at the end of the day is to kill you. And he is. Satan's going to try to kill you. That's his job. His job is to get you off this planet as fast as he possibly can. Because you might run the risk of getting saved. You might find God, and he'll lose you like, oh man, I thought I had him, and all of a sudden he's saved now? What do you mean he's a Christian now? Oh, he's following the Lord? Oh man. All that work I put in so much work to get him, and now he's, oh, kidding me. Oh well. Let's work on his brother. Because that's how they are. Let's work on his mother. Let's work on his father. We're getting one of them. We're going to get one of them. And we're still going to work on you. Oh, there's a way we got to bring him down. Let's just figure out ways to try to bring this one down. We can't let him go at all, period. And that's what I learned from you, gentlemen. What I went through with you guys, and you act like when I say this, like it's the end. It is the end. That's why I'm saying it. My Lord's been speaking to me and talking to me about this whole entire ordeal and what's about to happen. But what I learned from this whole situation And what I learned from any future trolls in this situation, that all that these people tried to do, all their campaigning, all their lies, everything, came down to nothing. My technology never got destroyed. We didn't lose any business. Where our company continued to grow. When Jamie sat there and said all that work to end up in a garage, that is his legacy. Jamie, do you have any idea what you just did? You went in the Lord when I sat there on that bench talking to the Lord and said, Lord, I don't want to go back to the apartment. I don't like it there. I'm not happy. And the Lord said, well, you like the garage? I said, I like the garage. I can live there. I like it. And the Lord said, okay, you make a decision what you want to do. Now, mind you, at the time, my rent at the apartment was around $1,480. That's what it was. I had $1,000 on me. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking that, well, technically I don't have the money right now to do the rent right now. And then boom, money popped up in my account. Now I do have the money. It's in rather than the payment. Oh, interesting. $600 just popped in there. All right, so now I do have the money. I have the option. Lord's making the path for me. Now you can go back to the apartment, or you can basically go to the garage. The garage doesn't have the bathroom and all that stuff, and doesn't have shower and all that stuff that the apartment has. But the garage has peace of mind. It's quiet. It's beautiful. I can open up that big door and see that beautiful scenery. It's peace of mind. And peace of mind is worth more than money. That's when you realize that in life. It's worth more than money. So I decided I'm going to the garage. The garage is going to be a challenge. It's going to be interesting, but I'm not afraid. You know why? Because my Lord has brought me through so much more than that. And what did the Lord do when I got there? He blessed me. Right from the minute I walked in, here it comes. The calculations start popping up. The insulation and basically how to dry lock. That's what I showed the pictures of the whole place being great. It was dry locked. It was in there. I dry locked that entire place from top to bottom, which means it was moisture free, all that. I did the insulation and everything in there. He picked out, I got researching about the BTUs and heating systems and all that stuff, and found this perfect oven, not oven, but this perfect radiator system to keep the place warm. Yeah, I learned all that from God. Taught me all that stuff. And if the temperature got too cold in there before we got, because I had to do the top area, and I haven't finished that yet. It's still a little cold, chilly in there. The Lord told me I had to put a heating blanket down first, and then put the heating blanket over top of you. So me and Taco was in there rolled up like a little burrito, nice and warm and toasty in there. And it's funny because I watch people who live the van life, they do it too. They put a heating blanket on the bottom, on the top. Boy, that's some toastiness right there from the door. It's toasty. But anyway, yeah, I was in that place right there. And then later on, I got everything else finished. It was nice and warm and it was comfortable. In the wintertime, summertime, I remember getting messages from them saying, oh, you must be really cooking in that place. You didn't see all that insulation I had in there? No, that place is cold. It's cold in there. 12 o'clock in the afternoon. That's how I know this stuff works, because I tested it for you. I tested this stuff. I know this stuff works. 12 o'clock in the afternoon. It's cold in there. It's cold. I never had to run an air conditioner. I ran a fan in there. That's all I had to run there. It was cold with the fan on. I remember turning that thing off and putting a blanket on me in the wintertime. The summertime, putting a blanket on. That's how cold it was in there from that insulation. Thank goodness I didn't do the floor, because man, I was thinking about doing the floor, and good thing I didn't do the floor, because man, it was cold. It was cold in that place. But that's all a blessing from the Lord. The Lord's not going to take us Christians, even though you guys go out there and prosecuted me for being in the garage. The Lord's not going to take us Christians and put them in a situation for the devil to get glory, for the world to laugh at them. He's not going to do that. My orders continued to flow while I was in there. We got new technology while I was in there. I was doing those outside demonstrations on 1,000 demonstrations out there outside. Business continued to grow, and they got angrier and angrier, and now they figured out, let's figure out campaigns to get him out of there. The devil just saturated in Satan. Just saturated in Satan. And everything you tried didn't work. And then you said, well, you know what? We can't get that to work. Let's contact people in the neighborhood. That's where Mr. Williams came in. We got your original letter. That letter will be going back to your people. The people that, in the building and all that stuff, and social work. And they got a legal department, too. We're sending a packet out to them. But anyway, you try to convince people in the neighborhood we're dangerous people. We're making bombs and all kinds of stuff in there. Jamie called himself swatting us by having the police come down. And you used your last name and was pinged back to your your apartment. That's with the FBI. That's another charge he has right there. So that's the stuff that they tried to do. And gentlemen, let me explain something to you. Everything you do in secret We know. How do we know? The Lord brings it to our attention. That's how we know. Everything you do in secret. Now, for what the Lord does not allow us to know, then that means that that's what the Lord's going to be handling His own way. Now, what I learned in this situation about what I went through with these individuals, hey, what's going on, buddy? Who vicious attacked me and my cat. They've attacked my cat too. They have attacked my family members and everything else you can possibly think of. I learned in this situation that I'm not the person I used to be many years ago. I've had someone attack me on every level you could possibly think of. There's a lot of stuff they did to me. And out of all this, can I say to myself, can I be honest and say to the Lord, Lord, do I hate these people? And as God is my witness and all for you to hear, as I did right in the middle of that floor, and I said, if I am all these things that they said that I am, may the Lord take away our blessings. May He cast us out so all can see. And what happened? Our technology advanced through the roof in ways I've never seen before. So I say here today, do I hate these people? No, I have no hatred for you at all. I don't like what you did to me because it was wrong what you did to me. I don't know any of you people at all. You attacked me because you were jealous. That's why you attacked me. You know, you kind of remind me, and no, I don't call myself Jesus, and never will, but it's kind of like the same scenario how you can look back and you see yourself through some of the prosecutions that these Christians went through. You know, Jesus was killed over jealousy. Yeah, it was jealousy. That's why they killed Jesus. Now, his spiritual sacrifice had to be done. He had to be sacrificed for us at the end of the day. But the Pharisees didn't like him because they were jealous. The Pharisees were making money. The Pharisees were on the earth and they were stealing and robbing from people. Mr. Williams, this is what you did. This is what you did was actually very serious. So they were making money. They were out there, you know, they tear their faces up to make it look they're fasting, and they would take money from people for prayer and money from people for blessings and everything. They were making money. And people in the church, they were in there, like I said, don't turn my Father's house into a den of thieves. They were in there selling sacrificial lambs. Well, if you want to get 100% saving from the Lord, you know, that's crazy to say that. 100% saving from the Lord, if you buy this particular sacrificial lamb, it would probably cost more money, of course, you're guaranteed to be saved. You have no right to say that at all, period. But they were in there making their money. And the Pharisees were walking around, bending their faces up, doing fake cast out of demons and healings and all that stuff, what you see preachers today doing. Some of the bad ones doing today. Not saying all of them, but some of them today will be doing that. Let me put my charger too. I got things to do today. But anyway, so they were, are we plugged in here? I don't think we are. They were jealous of Jesus. Now, Jesus comes here, and back in the day, a man who had a lot of gray hair was considered to be a man of great wisdom, knowledge, because, you know, the crown of silver he had on his head was considered to be great knowledge. So, Jesus was young. He's like 30 years old. Jesus didn't have any gray hair, you know what I mean? All his hair was dark and all, but his teachings were unbelievable. And they're jealous now, like, who is this guy at the end of the day that the people flock to? Because the people used to flock to them. Now the people are not paying him any mind. They're flocking to Jesus. And Jesus is showing miracles and wonders. And there's like, what kind of magic is this? Who does he work for? I mean, they're just curious who he is. And they're upset and bitter. How does he know all this stuff and he's not even the age that we are? He has no gray in his hair. Where's he getting his doctrine from? Not realizing that's God right in front of him the whole entire time. You imagine that? That's God the entire time right there. God in the form of a man, his son, right there in front of you the entire time, and you're questioning God. It's crazy, isn't it, when you think about it? So they became upset because the people no longer followed them. They followed Jesus, and they had one where he was in there preaching inside this house, and these people had so much faith in Jesus that they went over and they tore apart the roof to bring the body down. This guy was in the bed, he was sick, to bring his body down. And Jesus looked at them and was amazed by their faith that they had and healed that man. And that's what they didn't like that at all, period. And you had some other people that were out there not doing God's work. They were out there because he gave his apostles the power to cast out demons and to heal people. He gave them that power. Spread the word of the Lord. That's what he did. And there are other people out there trying to do the same thing. Like, man, they must be using some kind of tricks or whatever. And they try to cast out some demons. And these demons, they spoke to him. So we know Jesus, we know Paul, we don't know you. And they attacked these men. They left that house bloody and beaten. So, you know, when you look at that, all together, like I said, what Jesus was doing, how he hung on the cross, everything that he went through for us to have that life at the end of the day. And how, in a way I can put this in a way, how he gave us, how he hung on that cross. I mean, he didn't have to do any of that at all, period. And someone told me right now that, hey, go hang yourself on the cross, get beaten, get spit on and all that, for a bunch of people that some may accept you and some definitely won't. They'll make mockeries of you, they'll tease you, they'll steal from you, they'll do all this stuff. I'll be like, no, I'm not doing that for them. Let them burn. I'm not getting involved in that at all, period. Why? You wouldn't do that, would you? Some people get upset when you don't even open up a door for them. I seen the thing on TikTok, they pull you out and they shut the door and all that. And you get mad and just say thank you. And remind you of stuff that people are thinking right now. People that have come to this channel that are upset and bitter by me, by the things I'm saying. If what I am saying in this channel upsets you, if what I'm saying in this channel makes you bitter, then that tells me at the end of the day you are serving the devil. That's why I left the chat open. I left the chat open for those who judge. I left the chat open for those that are filled with hatred. You have outed yourself before the world on who you are. If you feel that you're using a bank account and you don't know who you are, God knows who you are. That's what's important. It's not important if I know who you are. God knows who you are. That's the one you have to answer to. You're not answering. You only answer to us. We have to take you to court. That's it. But the final judgment is God. It's not me. It's God. That's who you have to answer to. That's the part you don't understand. You're so busy in that bottom chat area, angry and upset. Some of you, I don't know if you're getting good knowledge, and some of you people get bad knowledge, but we got our trolls in, I'm pretty sure we do. And you're angry and upset, and you're attacking me. You're not attacking me. You're attacking God. That's what you're doing. And for you to sit there and twist it, oh, you think, I never said it was God. You're attacking God. We serve God. That's who protects us. You attacked him. So you're angry like you're coming at me. You can't do anything to me. The person that you need to do is repent to. The person you need to serve, the person you need to prove at the end of the day is God, not me. I can't send you to hell. He'll send you to hell. I can't do that. I can give you the knowledge and understanding to try to defend yourself against the devil, but the devil himself, only God can defend you against that. So as I sit here in the middle of this floor and say, at the end of the day, or right here by my desk, and say that if I am all these things as you claim me to be, may the Lord take away our blessings. May the Lord prosecute us, make us known, out us all. We're just scammer, ripper, all these things you claim me to be, right? I'll say it again. Before the Lord and you two, may everything we have, everything is tainted and destroyed. But it won't be, because I serve God. I'm true with him 100%. I have to be. I can't go out and I'm not going to scam and for some few pennies to lose my salvation with God. It's not worth it. Why? Why would I go and do that? I got computer skills that I got from him. All that over there, I got from him. Those are people like to mock and call my PCs built. You're not mocking me. You're mocking God. That's his blessing. That's what he gave to me. That's his knowledge. That's what his gift he gave to me. So you mock me, you mock God. And you say, I would never mock God, but you do. But anyway, as I said before, yeah, I wouldn't have all that. Every time I look at these machines, it reminds me of that wonderful blessing I got that day. You have any idea how I learned how to build those machines? I didn't go to school for it. No, I didn't go to school for it at all, period. I could not build a PC. I didn't know the difference between a motherboard and RAM and hard drive. I don't need that stuff. It's completely blank. That's like someone asking you to speak French. Right off the bat, you speak French? Fluent French? You can't speak fluent French. You don't understand it. I mean, you understand some of the words, but you can't speak fluent French, right? It's completely oblivious. You don't know it. But just imagine one day you open up and bam, you speak fluent French. You prayed on it. You talk to the Lord say, hey, what would you like? And you say, you know what? I always try to learn how to speak French. And the Lord says, okay. And you wake up the next day, and the first thing comes out of your mouth, you speak it. You understand it. You know it. You write it. You read it. That's what happened to me with computers. Didn't know anything about them. I had these Tiger Direct magazines, and I had Comp USA. These are old companies back in the day, and I wanted to learn computers so badly. I wanted to, man, what I seen online, on going to the library, of watching people, all the research. I mean, I can go into the ocean, I can study the ocean, I can study outer space. There's so much knowledge I could get off a computer. So much knowledge. But I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford one. I didn't have that kind of money. And computers are kind of expensive, you know. So, mind, this is back in the CRTs. I'm pretty old, you know. So, I couldn't afford it. And I remember talking to people at Tiger Direct, like, you know, customer service, and just trying to get an idea, like, how do we put this together? Like, they're talking about bare bone kits. Like, what's a bare bone kit? Like, it's a power supply and just case. But now I'm baffled, like, okay, but I don't even understand the power supply. I can understand the case somewhat, but not the power supply. I knew nothing, absolutely, completely nothing at all. Now I remember reading and listening to Family Redo, and I was reading Leviticus in the Bible about the children of Israel. Why, these people didn't have any of these skills, so, you know, carving from stone and tapestry and sewing and all this stuff they did to make the tabernacle. The tabernacle was absolutely beautiful. It was exquisite. It was gorgeous. It came from God. And when I just sat there for a split minute thinking at the end of the day that, wow, if the Lord, infinity knowledge that he has the ability to take that knowledge, mind, these people would ever went to school for it, and transfer it into his servants to give them the ability to be able to build this sculpture, this sculpture toward the Lord. There's nothing that God can't do. And boop, right there, that's when it happened. That's where it happened, where I had this, not thinking about anything else. They call it clear consciousness, like nothing at all. Like you're not thinking about this, you're not thinking about that. People who do meditating and stuff like that, it's like a kind of like state of pure consciousness that triggered off. I never had it happen before. And I remember hearing the Lord speak to me. And I remember hearing him say, what would you like? Now, I could have asked for power. I could have asked for money. I could have asked for a lot of things, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted to build a computer. That's all I wanted. And right from there, the Lord said, so be it. And as we walked away, he left. And as I came back, and I started thinking like, oh man, I'm going to be able to build computers. It wasn't, oh man, I don't know about this, man. I mean, that's, no. I believe that anything the Lord tells me, it's going to be. I believe as the nose is on my face, my faith is that strong. It took time to get there. It really did. Not a trial and tribulation to get to the point where you have to have total faith in God. It takes a while. But I believed it. I knew it. I knew 100%. It didn't happen that day at all. I knew it. I was telling my family about, like, yeah, I'm going to be building computers pretty soon. The Lord gave me the blessing to build computers. And some of them didn't believe me, and some did. Oh, no, I'm going to be building computers. I'm going to be building computers pretty soon. The Lord's going to tell me. And I'm looking at the magazines, still not understanding anything in the magazines. So that night, I went to sleep. And I woke up the next day. Something was different. Something was completely different. And I knew it. And I reached over and I grabbed that Tiger Direct magazine. I slid it over. And I opened it up and boom! I knew everything in the book. All of it. Everything. And it just kept processing. It just never stopped. Processing. More information. I was building cases and computers and writing everything down, all the schematics. How you see me draw out the PC for the steampunk. Just like that. Stacks and stacks and stacks of bullets. Writing. Information is flowing. I can build these machines. I understood the programs. Understand all the peripherals and parts and modifications and all that. It just kept flowing, just kept going. And mine, I haven't built a machine yet. So I'm sitting out there one day, because I don't sell the money for a machine. And I'm sitting out there one day, and this woman, I went to the thrift store. I had $50 in my pocket. The Lord told me to go to the thrift store. I had $50 in my pocket. I found a computer in it for $35. It was a 270 socket Pentium 2. That's what I purchased. AT motherboard, big huge motherboard. So I first started working on those. And it had IDE cables. That's how I learned how to use PCI. Now PCI Express with PCIs to learn to override the IDE cables to put in SATA outputs and power supply and all that stuff, modifications and CD burners and DVD burners and all that stuff. So that's where I started from. And I started stripping this machine around, putting it all together and everything, and checking all the parts and everything. So it had an old operating system. I think it had Windows 98 on it. I wanted Windows XP. Then my next door neighbor They had a computer over there. I saw him bring one in when he moved in. I was wondering, like, he had the disc that came with that one. I said, oh, sure. So he gave me the disc, and I loaded it up and got to like 99%. In my I never did any programming or anything whatsoever, followed everything went through perfectly, the Lord directed me. And I remember sitting there, and the machine was at 99%. Then I zoomed out, and I started speaking with the Lord. And when I came to and look up, it was Windows was loading up. That's the first time I heard that guy singing What Humans Do. The first time I heard that. I heard music come from the machine. Oh, man. I don't think I slept that night. I was all over the place. I was in different countries and reading books in different libraries, and I was under the ocean. I was looking at all the fish and the marine life, and then I was out of space looking at all the planets. And then basically I learned how to go in and upgrade my machine. It was teaching how to upgrade the machine. So I got PCI and I got SATA outputs to run the optical drive and more advanced hard drive that doesn't run IDE, because now I have my operating system. I can put my operating system at will without having to change my hard drives out. And then I put in a better sound card and got speakers for it, and better keyboard and mouse, and man, it was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Then I learned about JavaScript and all these different programs and stuff to increase, and man, it was fantastic. And now I was sitting out there, and I was looking at the case, and I was like, I don't like the case. The case is beige. And I changed the case out. So I stripped down the whole machine, took it all apart, sanded it all down, primed it, changed the color of it. And I looked at the monitor, like the monitor was a master screen. Right, match the computer. I wonder if I can change it out. So I started taking apart CRTs and coding and coloring the monitors any way I want to match my setup. And I was like, what about the keyboard? Did the keyboard, did the mouse, did the speakers, and then I got this whole cool setup. And later on, I'm sitting out there, they're talking about the Pentium 4 Hyperthread. That's the new one coming out. It's still expensive by Dell. And I remember the neighbor next door was throwing away a Pentium 4 Hyperthread. And I was like, are you fixing the trash? I'm trashing. You want it? I was like, thank you. Blessing from God. I got a Pentium 4 Hyperthread. The new ones that came out. He was going to buy another one. He was going to pick up another PC, a more higher rate model. But that one was still fantastic for me. I went in there and put the operating system, loaded it up. Everything went through. Because he had a problem. For some reason, the hard drive kept the blue screen come up on the hard drive. But when I put it in, I went and formatted it and then put back in the operating system, and it worked. And then later on, I knew how to overclock the Hyperthreads and all that stuff. Man, I was having a ball with that machine. Strip it down, change the color of it, design. Oh, man, I remember that, man. Doing the modification, the color, changing the design of it, everything I wanted to do with it. And then I started getting into, I was walking up my dog up and down the street. And I remember I bumped into this guy. There's another guy, another African-American in the neighborhood who had his own store. And me and him got to talking and laughing. We became good friends. So he built basic PCs, and I built PCs with modifications. I was changing the color, and I was getting the neon fans, and I started learning about cool PCs and all these places and get all these modifications abilities for PCs. I was seventh in the modding area of it all. And me and him got to talking. I showed him some of the gaming PCs and stuff I was designing. And he was like, man, that's freaking cool, man. I should have some of these. And here I would make some pretty good money with these machines, but I'm not going to do it for myself. I said, okay, how about we make a deal? I need parts, and you need machines you can sell. So we make a little trade, and that's how I started bartering with him. And next thing you know, I was getting the parts that I needed, and he was getting these cool machines I was designing, making more money. So he was working back and forth. He had a little business we were running. So now, the Lord not only blessed me with the knowledge to have these machines, but he turned around and gave me a business out of it. So then, I'm out there working on the porch, and this guy comes out of the car, and he goes, hey, you got to work some PC. I'm like, how would anyone know this? But yeah, he saw me out there working when he was driving by, because I would work outside sometimes on my PCs. I like to work outside. And he says, yeah, I seen you out here working on these computers, man. And mind, there's no computer guys in the hood. Some here and there, but you got to find them with word of mouth. And this I met a lot of people in North Philadelphia, because the guy came by and said, I'm going to bring my PC down. Can you hook it up? I said, what's wrong? He said, operating system is failing. I'm having some issues with it. I said, okay, I can upgrade it. What you got? You got 98. Upgrade you to XP, because I bought the operating system. I paid for the Windows XP operating system. I own the license now. So what you want to charge? And I was like, I ain't gonna charge. You never did this one before. And I was like, 150? And the guy was like, perfect. So he gave me $150. I'm like, there's money in my hand. Like, she made $150. Like, this is crazy. So I was like, okay, because the jobs I worked at the end of the day, I make $150 in one day. And a couple of minutes at that. A couple of minutes, $150. I'm saying like, okay, we got You got to get this thing together. You got to do this right. So went down and prayed on it. Lord told me to go down and get a tax identification ID number and all this stuff and everything I needed to run a business and all that stuff to pay my taxes and stuff. That's what I did. Gave me the knowledge and information along with the business wise. I'm like, okay, how do I run all this? I don't know how to do this and do that. And the Lord said, just sit back, pray on it. And I prayed, and He directed me how to do it. That's how I learned about business tax ID numbers and license. I knew all that stuff because I had business before. That's how I know the stuff now. So went and got all that together and had a good business. People were coming up and dropping off the PCs. But then I started doing house calls. And I had some people who couldn't leave the house. I was like, okay, well, I can pop over. What time do you need me to be there? So I pop over there, and I basically fixed their stuff. And I became friends with their family and stuff like that. And I fixed their friend's family computer. I was just giving PC guy. As I got a nickname PC guy in the neighborhood. And then I learned at the end of the day that people in North Philadelphia got the most interesting pets I have ever seen in my life. I thought we all had pit bulls. No, I was sadly wrong on that one. I learned a lot about my people at the end of the day. You know, when you see the outskirts of it all, you think they're just, and my people, then they're just violent and this, that, and the other. No. And they're way much more than that at the end of the day. One guy was in there, he into Shakespeare. He was reading me some of the poetry I was working. Hey, man. Another guy was in there, because you know, you live in the hood, you live in a bad neighborhood, you see what you see. But you don't realize the undercoating, these people behind the door. I met thugs that read Shakespeare, and they're good too at that. They're really good. They're good. I'm like, what are you doing this for? He said, I can't go out there and speak that. They're not going to understand me at the end of the day. Behind closed doors, this is who I am. I said, yeah, but just do something with it, man. Go to community college, do something. Go out, break out past this, man. Go downtown. They got these places where you can do your poetry at. He didn't know anything about that. I went all the way downtown, got all the information, brought it right back to him. Hey, go out there. And yeah, he did pretty good out there. They loved him. See, that's what I said. I mean, if I got knowledge at the end of the day, I try to pass along to help other people out. So then I got his PC fixed up. I remember the one guy, and this is when I was studying. I was a brown belt. I still could hold my own. I had to fight at first, and I didn't want to hurt anybody, but I was a brown belt. And I remember I went to this guy's house. He was an interesting fellow. And he was like, hey, I'm going to see something in my basement. That's not something you start a conversation with a person who's working on your computer and there's no one in there but you. And you're thinking like, oh, man, Lord, I hope he didn't run into anything like this. Because I'm about to jack him up. Because you're not going to put your hands on me. I got to defend myself. I'm not going to try to hurt you, but anything I do to you is going to cause you pain. That's the thing about it. It's the part you got to think about. Anything you do to that person is going to cause them pain. But you have to defend yourself. Can you let somebody cut you up and stick you in a freezer? When somebody cut you up and stick you in a freezer? No, you're not going to let somebody do that. And you're trained to fight too? No. But you know if you strike him, he's going to feel pain. And that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to inflict pain on anybody. So now I go, I got to pray on this. Lord, I'm going to take control of this because I don't want to get involved in this way. So we get down there, and this guy's got this freaking long black leather bib. He's got these gloves on, the boots, and you're thinking, oh, man, all the places I'm going to do a serial killer. Oh, I have to check this guy out. And Lord, hope he doesn't get to this point. We get down there, and it's this huge tank. It's got to be about at least 7 feet. I've never seen a 7-foot tank. It wasn't even high. It wasn't even a high tank. It was maybe about, I guess it would be high, because it didn't even have, it had a small stand on the bottom of it. It was roughly 2 inches, but it stood about all together. I'd say, yeah, it was high, about 6 feet. It's a big tank. I'm thinking there's got to be bodies in there. Because it's weird. A guy invites you down to his basement, and he's dressed like a serial killer, and you think at the end of the day that, hey, this guy's going to try to kill me. But then I noticed something weird about the tank. The tank had neon lights all over, like these neon lights that weren't on, and it had the word Pico written over top of it. He's electrocuting people down here? Because, you're not going to think the positive at all. He's coming down to show me a cake or a statue or something. I'm not seeing any art equipment around or anything where he's working or anything. I don't know why you're wearing a rubber bib if you're basically sitting around, pottery, or painting. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm now thinking that I don't have to beat this guy up. So I'm thinking about a way to calculate what we can do to him that will minimize as less damage as possible. Either way, he's going to feel pain out of this. And he goes, I got to show you something. Come over here to the tank. I'm thinking, oh, boy, it's going to be the biggest mistake he made in his entire life. You got the wrong person in here today. So he says, don't stick your hands in there. I put my hands in there. But don't put your hands. Are you crazy? I said, okay. It ain't what I thought it was. Because he just warned me I could stick my hand in this tank. So I back up and I see something moving in the tank. And I go, what the heck do you have in here? Because you can tell by the length of it, it was rubbing from one end at 7 feet to the other end. I'm thinking, this thing is big. What he has in here? Now I'm excited, thinking like, oh, that's going out of my head. I'm comfortable and cool with this guy. I'm like, what you got in there? He says, I got electric eel. I said, electric eel? Where the frick you get electric eel? It started off like a small one, and it started to grow, and then I realized I got this really big tank for it because I wouldn't have plenty of room, and I realized they grow to the size of the tank. That's what they do. They grow to the size of the tank. So he's got a bigger tank coming and show me the tank. After we did the whole thing, he showed me the tank and what he's buying. And it's going to take up most of the basement. It was cool looking, and he's planning to leave, and he's saving up his money, his taxes and stuff, and he wants to get this place out in the country. We can have this eel out there, this huge outdoor tank. It's something crazy he was working on. This guy's really brainiac guy. So I said, yo, can you get the charger light? I said, watch this. So he takes his hand while he has the rubber gloves on, while the floor is rubber underneath of us, while he's got his rubber bib on, and he takes his hand and he brushes against it, right? And that thing charged up. You know those lights on the side? Those things were super bright. They looked like the halo system like we had in here. The light Pico, which is the name of the electric company in Philadelphia, and that's what he named the eel, Pico. Man, I was like, you gotta figure a way how to stick a cell phone here. We can charge cell phones. I'm already thinking about that already. I thought it was a pretty good idea, but I like how our minds sync together. He was like a Steve Urkel kind of guy, but he's real tall, real muscular built guy. He was a funny dude at the end of the day. Me and him became best friends. I hung out with this guy just about every single day I went over there. Every single day I hung out with him. He said, cell phone idea? He said, I'm thinking about that right. I'm trying to figure out how to get that to work at the end of the day. So he's figuring out how to use the eel to charge items. I was like, that is freaking crazy. Yeah, electric eel. I met a person that had a frog named Bastard. Bastard was the most interesting, disgusting bullfrog I ever met in my entire life. He was big. He was a big bullfrog. Roughly the size of a 5-pound bag of sugar. And Bastard, that's the name they gave him, had one big eye and one little eye. And he just sat, it's funny, he had one big eye on one side and one little eye. Another side he had one big leg and one short leg. And the guy said he saw him at a pet store and he fell in love with him. You know, that Bastard had his attitude. And the guy I met was a really big, heavy-set guy. He's a cool dude, had a lot of hair, crazy hair. Kind of reminded me of Bomb on freaking Angry Birds. Is what he kind of remind me of. And he says, me and Bastard are just like, man. He's just like me, man. I love Bastard. And I said, I gotta see this frog. My God, that thing was huge. And then the top of that, most frogs, when you drop a fly on the glass, they hit it and bring it back. No, Bastard would take his tongue and hit the side of it, lick the side. You ever seen a frog's tongue full span licking something? It was creepy, I don't know, but it was interesting. I was like, wow, just it's all that flavor, right? Yep, that's Bastard. That was the song. I seen black scorpions. This guy had black scorpions. I seen sand spiders. That's an interesting one right there. Those things are jacked up. They sit there in that sand and say, hey, look at real close. Don't get too close, don't jump. And just look at it. Keep looking. You tap the glass, that thing jumped up and stuck right to the glass and jumped back. And I was like, oh, what the freak? Why? You can make sure the lid is shut on that thing. So it's shut. Reminds me of Nicolas Cage, that freaking 12-inch African tarantula. What the freak? But anyway, still, I met some people with some really cool, interesting pets. Lizards, spiders, rabbits, all kinds of stuff. 6-foot electric eel, which is interesting. And I'm blessed through that blessing that the Lord gave me to build these machines. I met all types of interesting people, and got a chance to go into talk to people in modding communities and stuff like that, and learned a lot of stuff. And just because I was given this knowledge, I mean, I walk through life full glass. Oh yeah, my technology came from God, and I know more to it. No, I just back up my stuff what it can do. That guy called PC, I'm not going to call you king. There's only one king, and that's Jesus. He came in and ridiculed me because I made a statement that the guy got nasty with me about saying the bosses collect mold. I'm like, no, they don't collect mold. You need water in order to activate mold. You need something there to trigger off the cause and effect. It doesn't pop up out of nowhere. And then he came in and started ranting, which I think is the same person. Which he came there ranting and talking about how I don't know PCs and this, that, and this, that, and blah, 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 blah. Dude, you just gave me a whole freaking spreadsheet of parts. That's all you did. Anybody can buy those parts. Anyone who builds a PC, even if it's basic, will know those parts. You got to put it all together. It's not that hard. once you basically understand the parts and where they go, PC is mostly just memory. That's all. Memorizing all your parts, where they go, and then how to modify parts. All that's just memory at the end of the day. How much memory can you obtain? But any person who builds a basic PC can put that thing together. It's easy to do. It's just snapping parts together. That's all. You just have to pick out what parts you want that are pretty much going to get what you want out of that PC. This is where people at the end of the day get so confused at the end of the day. It's not about having the biggest boss machine on the face of the planet. It's what you choose, which caters to you. That's what it comes down to. What you choose that caters to you. If you're into retro gaming, there's no way in the world you're going to need a 5090 in there. What the freak would you need that in there for? If you're doing basic retro gaming, RetroPies don't have 5090s in them. You see the games that you can game on a RetroPie? You see the tons of games they have on there? Do they have a 5090 sitting in there? No. They got a 3050 in there? No, they don't. If not, they have small processors and all that stuff. You don't need all that stuff. I'm a retro gamer. That's my era. That's where I come from. That's what I enjoy. Every once in a blue moon, I might find a newer game I like, but most likely I'm retro. That's what I play. Now, if I have to come across and I have to build me a machine for GTA 6, I'm not using those back there. They're not designed for it. I just build one because that's what I do. I build PCs. But other than that, then showing a schematic of parts and stuff, yeah, that doesn't amaze me because at the end of the day, I mean, you put it all together pretty cool, but the modifications is what I like. I'm a modder. So for him on his end, he's going to come back in and show up his monitor setup and all that. Buddy, I build screens, man. I design technology, screens, all that stuff. My world and your world are completely different. You go buy monitors, I make technology that makes me money. You know, that's why I'm looking at my hand like, what do you want me to do here? You're a grown man at the end of the day. You should never be showing off that kind of side of yourself. You got to grow up. Go out and get a second job or do something else. If you got skills in that field, whatever, make some money off it. Do something with it. You got better things to do with your time. Anybody know it's getting any younger? We're all getting older. Spend your time doing something else. But coming back in and challenging me and saying, oh, I pranked you. Okay, so, again, who cares? So if you made me believe the company was real, big deal. I didn't spend the money for it. I tell you, I spent $350 for a fan. And then one of the things I found interesting, at a $350 fan at 120 millimeters, where's the RPMs at? Because there's no specifications on the RPMs. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Let me explain something to you. If you call yourself pranking a Christian at the end of the day, you really want to be on that side of the fence with God? That's what you're reaching for? But that doesn't go well. And again, at the end of the day, that we can see things at the end of the day. We're blessed to have that third eye. You see things. You see the wolf in sheep's clothing. And that's one of the things I noticed when I saw the fan. I was like, oh, it's pretty cool. It's a wooden fan. But then when I'm looking at the specifications, I'm a modder. I had to look at the specifications. I'd see how I can use this thing to an advantage point on modifications where I can use it for. And I noticed that the RPMs are not there. Now, curious, thinking at the end of the day, that these fans I have over here cost me $40 for 5 of them, and they're 5,000 RPMs. So $40 for 5,000 RPMs, and you got a fan that's roughly $350 at 120 inches, right? These are 120 millimeters too, but they're 5,000 RPMs. So how high would the RPMs be at a fan that costs for one of them $350? The RPMs have got to be through the roof. Now, mind you, at 5,000 RPMs, those things, even though they're supposed to be solid, they're noisy. They are. I couldn't imagine anything past the 5,000 mark. It wouldn't be noisy. It would sound like you got an airplane, propeller airplane going off in the middle of your gaming room. So they're going to be super loud. And on top of that, with that roughly higher over 5,000 RPMs, the voltage is going to be insane. I don't know what motherboard you're going to connect those to, because those fans right there don't connect them to the motherboard. It can't. Motherboard will have issues with that. Now, certain motherboards have certain voltage that you can use, but if the voltage doesn't match your motherboard, then you'll be power cycling your PC all day long. You're cutting on and cutting off, cutting on and cutting off. And now you got to figure out a way how you're going to override. Now, he could override and go past the motherboard and hook up a Molex adapter with 4 pins on it, or 3 pins on however you do it. And you can run that Molex adapter right directly into your power supply and then override the motherboard altogether. The only thing you would have to run through the motherboard is basically how to power the liquid cooling system, and that's just basically a little small fan in there anyway. That'll run right through your motherboard output for your fan anyway. Did I lose anybody in that process? I'm pretty sure everybody picked up on that one. But anyway, yeah, that's it. you'd have to override the motherboard. Which is interesting because I could have did that with the Dells. Dells are interesting. The Dells have, and I work with a lot of Dells. Dells are the easiest drivers to find, but they're the most hardest PCs to manipulate and mess with because Dells make it so you can't touch your stuff. Like for instance, the new one, the 9020s, have an 8-pin. And remember, everything is memory. You literally have to memorize all this stuff. It's all memory. So if you got a memory that picks up something pretty cool, you'll pick up PCs really fast. It's all memory in your head. But anyway, the Dell's 9020s have an 8-pin adapter instead of a 24. The reason why they put an 8-pin in there because that way you can't change out the power supply or manipulate the board. But somebody along the way, thank you so much and I appreciate it, made an adapter for 8-pin to 24-pin, which means you still can run it through a power supply. Now mostly the Dells are basically small form factor PCs and they'll have like a 250. A 250 ain't going to get you jack because the 3050 is going to require 300 watts of power to run it. So that has 300 watts. Those right there, the low profile, most of the low profile, the 1050s don't require any power. Their power is strictly off the PCI Express only. But some of them basically need extra power to run. So you need 300 watts minimum, which you're not going to be able to do because your power supply is 250 watts. On top of that, they only give you like the outputs for basically for mostly SATA. There's no Molexes on there anyway whatsoever. So you have to get those adapters to do all that. So maybe you want to upgrade to maybe 700 watts. Well, the person who came in and made an 8-pin to 24-pin made it so that you can now hook up a power supply of a larger caliber that you can run all your cool stuff off right now. Now, when you run a liquid cooling system, when you put your Molex adapters on there, we ought to have Molex adapters, so that way you can run your pin adapter system that will allow you to be to overrun your 5,000 RPMs directly into your power supply and just skip the board altogether. Yeah, you have to memorize all that stuff, everything. And that's what I learned in one day from God. I learned all that. So I never went to school for any of this stuff at all, period. And I got a buddy of mine who's IT tech. He's actually certified IT. And I sit there and have a conversation and go back and my mom was alive, go, how the freak is he knowing this stuff at the end of the day? Because he didn't went to school for it. I didn't go to school for it. I know stuff that he doesn't even know. That's the power of God right there. All this stuff, this technology we engineer, how many times I've had someone call me a genius or a chemist at the end of the day? You got to be a chemist. You got to be no, my IQ, same area yours is at, you know what I mean? I'm average. I don't have an IQ, nothing like that. Well, would you go to school for chemistry? How did you learn all these different types? I didn't go to school for any of this stuff. It was blessed. It was given to me. That was another blessing from the Lord. And that started for me. I was a monitor guy. I was a PC guy. At the end of the day, I was a monitor guy. I was a guy, the monitors you had, the 20 inches, my monitors were anywhere roughly between, because I didn't game on 20 inches. I refused to. They were too small for me. My monitors were between 40 and 50. That's the only thing I would game on. So these 40 and 50 inch monitors, they were all tagged side by side. So basically I can run my graphic card and jump an image from A, B, and C. And I was to have my home PC was set up. I got at the particular time, we had a 2011 server board with 256 gigs of RAM, PC3000 OC, overclock RAM on it. It had 4 processors in it. So basically I had a quad processor, 12-core processor in the unit, which means I had to design an adapter, like some kind of plus side adapter to run the liquid cooling system so they would all join together. And that was an interesting road trip right there. I had 2 power supplies in it, and this is before they came with the ATXY adapter. You had to go to Radio Shack, break out a soldering gun, get to work, design your own adapters for everything, because no one made it at that particular time. They had some stuff, but a lot of stuff, some stuff you need, you're making it yourself. So you make your own adapters and stuff. That's when you got your circuit testers and all that stuff at the end of the day, and that's running on short out your board. So I got this whole setup, depleted all my funds. I'm good to go. I'm happy. I'm thinking, man, I got the best gaming PC. I got my monitors all set up. And you couldn't convince me to buy a projector if my life depended on it. I'm like, man, I ain't buying no projector at the end of the day. When I was coming up, the high-end projectors on the market were Sharp, Magnavox, and what was that? Xena. Those were the high-end ones. And most of them were CRTs, if you've ever seen those things before. That's the one with the red, blue, and green in them. Big, huge, massive coffee table units. I'm like, nah, I'm not buying that. No, I'm good. I'm going to stay at my monitor. Monitors are sharper, better. At the end of the day, I'll stay at my monitor. Until I got a phone call, my buddy goes, hey, I'm over here playing Gears of War on Xbox 360. I'm having to come check it out. I was like, okay, console boy. Because at the time I was PC Master Race. And I come over and I was like, how dare you disrupt me, the PC Master Race. How dare you? Let me see your setup. And I leaned over and I saw the screen. I was like, well, this is an interesting turn of events. What the freak is this? He said, this is my 120-inch screen. I was like, blew my mind. I couldn't, the 360, all that's gone. I saw the console. I didn't even care about the console. I'm looking at that screen like, oh my goodness. Like it was so clear, sharp. He had it right next to a window. And he was playing the game on. I was like, oh. Because all the videos I started about was sitting in the dark. And I go over, I said, oh, you got to show me the projector. So where's it at? So he showed me a BenQ. He had a BenQ projector, a 1080p model. That's what he had. And look in the back of it, all the peripherals in the back of it. Different from BMC and HDMI, and it's a VGA. It had all the peripherals in the back of it. I'm like, oh man, I can hook this to my PC. Imagine what this would look like on my setup at home. The cookies, I kind of have one of these. So now I go back, it's in my mind. I'm obsessed with this giant screen now. And my monitors, when I get home, feel like they're like 13-inch TVs compared to that giant 120-inch I just gamed on. Man, I was like, okay, I ain't got no money. I depleted my funds. And I don't know when the next time I'm going to get paid. So I'm going to have to sell the monitors because I can't do these small monitors anymore. I'm obsessed with that giant screen now. So I sold my monitors and I got a BenQ MS800. I'll never forget that projector as long as I live. Now, at the time, I had this wall in front of me and I'm thinking I'm going to be able to blow up the entire wall. I'm going to have a screen way bigger than my buddy's screen, way bigger than the screen. But that's when I realized that projectors, the farther you push them back, the bigger they get. And my projector, my room wasn't that big. That's the little room I was in. So I got about an 80-inch. But that's a heck of a lot bigger than the two monitors I had. So 80-inch right there, I was happy with that. But when I turned on the projector, I was depressed. The colors were washed out. The contrast was washed out. And not the same way as my monitors. Didn't look the same way. And for the graphic card, I was using a Tesla graphic card for it. 24-bit Tesla graphic card I was using for it. And I was very, very upset. I was like, this sucks. I went back and told my buddy, I was like, hey, I don't got any more money left. How do we fix this? I can't go back to that. I just built this PC. I want to be able to enjoy it. And he was like, well, it's this YouTube paint they had made. Came out on the market because I couldn't afford what he got. He had a gray one. It was a $3,000 screen. Couldn't afford that. And he said, what's this YouTube paint they made? And I was like, YouTube paint? He said, yeah, it's sort of like a gray, dark gray kind of paint. Some of it's light gray, some of it's dark gray. You can make it the way you want. He suggests I go with a mid-gray because I had the contrast and I would have the color and white notes and all that. I said, okay, cool. So I went to, he gave me the ingredients. I went to Home Depot. And the guy came back, because I couldn't find it. The guy came back and says, oh, buddy, man, you were like 5 years too late. He said, 2 of those ingredients, they don't even make anymore. So I'm thinking, oh, no, man, I sold my monitor, high-definition monitors, for this projector. And I'm thinking that I'm going to take the projector back, get whatever money I can off of it, and just buy one of my monitors. At least I got one of my monitors. It might not be as big as my other monitors, so they were expensive. But at least I have something to game on other than that crappy surface and screen I'm watching the projector off of. And that's also too when I realized that the advertising on the box that they have when they had the family sitting out there and you get this beautiful bright image, that's all bull crap at the end of the day. And I didn't get none of it off the side of my box. That's how I know how you feel like, because I went through it myself on that white surface. So then, as I was ready to walk out the door, same voice, the same one with the computers, Store spoke to me again. He says, you're not going to get rid of the projector. You're going to keep the projector. This is what I want you to pick up. I said, Home Depot wouldn't happen. So I went and I picked up the ingredients, everything he told me, exactly, put it inside the basket. I went and paid for everything. My buddy drove me out there. And then on the way home, I started doubting a little bit, like, oh, no, man, this might not work. And the Lord said, be still. Listen. Computers, did I steal your roam there? And I said, no, you didn't, Lord. He says, okay then, listen to what I got to tell you. So when I got in, the Lord directed me what to mix, how much to put in, how many tablespoons, how many cups. He directed everything. And I mixed it, stirred it all up, and I painted it on the wall. And the first thing that came when I saw was Futurama, because it had a lot of color in it. So we're sitting in the movie theater, and all the different colors you see, that's when I paid first. And those colors came out, they were gorgeous. I'm going to find my first picture. I'm going to see if I can track down my first picture from my first shot that I saw. And when those colors and everything popped up, I had my lights on, mind you. I didn't realize the lights were on. I still had the lights on. My buddy came in from a party, and I'm just staring at the screen. And then I got tears rolling down my eyes because I'm looking at the wonderful blessings of the Lord. This is the blessing that I was giving many years back before any of you trolls came on my channel and started prosecuting me. So you went in and you prosecuted a Christian's blessings that he had that far back, and you called those blessings that the Lord gave me long before I ever met you guys. You called me a scam, rip off, and I steal from people. That's what you did. You think about that one. So my buddy comes in. Now I had no intention of selling it at all. I don't know anything about the field. I don't know about projectors. My first time getting one. I don't know jack of anything. I just know I got a screen. I can watch movies off of it and have fun. That's all I know. So a buddy comes in and he goes, "Man, this is far better than the other one." He said, "You should sell this." I go, "Oh, sell this. I should sell this." And then the Lord started speaking to me again. This is what we're going to do. We're going to build yourself a website. I went to Vistaprint, got myself a website, set up my first PayPal account. I've been PayPal for 15 years. I just found out 15 years ago PayPal. I set up a PayPal business account. I got my business cards. And now I'm trying to figure out, like, how do you sell a screen paint? How do you do this? So the Lord's educating me on where to go. Give me the knowledge. I went to Goose Screen because Goose Screen was the most popular one at the time. And I was going through their site, like how they sold their stuff. And I noticed that everybody had a lot of pictures. No one had a lot of videos. There were not a lot of videos on this stuff. So I just started doing my own videos. I started going in and figured out going to the forum sites and watching what everybody else was doing. And I did the opposite. Everybody was sitting in the dark, doing tons of demonstrations where it took 6 and 7 hours. Mine is way back in the day. 6 and 7 hours to paint a screen. I did it for an hour or less. And everybody said you had to paint it to a certain surface. I started painting drywall, cardboard boxes, vinyl, all kinds of stuff. People were talking about how you had to be careful because the screens would crack and peel. I did a demonstration 10 years ago with a vinyl screen. I painted it in. I balled it up like a ball and pulled it out so it didn't crack or peel. I was doing the opposite of everybody else, and that's what got me noticed. And then from there, it never stopped. Because when the gray screen paints, we had that, the Lord was blessing us with different levels, darker shades of gray screen paints. And then it got into gunmetal. And so we bumped into Screen Innovation. Screen Innovation recognized our technology, like their stuff. And then after that, after the Screen Innovation, I thought to myself, I want a black screen. And this will be in there with additional 4K crystal onyx. And now, this is all the technology we got from God. So when I sit there and tell you that you're treading on extremely dangerous grounds, you are. Very dangerous grounds. And you think at the end of the day, I'm not the one you got to be worried about. It's God that's the one you got to be worried about. That's the one you got to worry about. That's the one that's allowing you right now, as you're on this channel, to breathe. To be able to come in the next day and wake up the next day. That keeps the devil at bay. That could be sitting right across the street from your house with claws open, teeth wide with fangs, waiting to rip your flesh apart. You think about that. Alright, people. With that being said, I got to get back to work. I got much to do. What time do we have here? I'm painting my tiles right now to get ready for my screen over here. 9:26. Right, 9:26. I got some phone calls to make, some things to do, and I got to finish painting the rest of my tiles. Get ready for the giant screen. Get all this set up in here. Get this done, and I got a yoga mat coming through that I got to coat so I can turn that to a floor projection screen. Because I think I'm going to put, let me see, I'm going to put the ultra short throw in the center so I can have it hitting the floor too. I want the floor to hit and I want all the walls to hit at the same time. I built something like that before and then I took it down. But anyway, I got much to do. The Lord has a lot for me to do today, and I got videos I've already uploaded to the account. I got to put those videos over to the website, and I got a launch date coming up on the 19th. And then I got to meet the advertising company soon and get all that stuff done too. So I got a lot to do, a lot on my mind, a lot to do. But there's a lot to get done for what you want to do. Like I said, some people feel that our prices are too expensive. I charge what my Lord tells me to charge. That's what I do. Whatever He tells me what I charge is what I charge. So I go with that from there. And we've never been in a situation. Somebody's saying, "Well, you charge too much." Well, look at our technology does. That's stuff that other screens don't do. And we put out the matching betters. I put that out there. No one's done those. But we just got people who just want to scream and carry on and rant. And we say, hey, if you don't like what I'm doing at the end of the day, I gave you another option too. I said, hey, take me to court. Sign the contract. Come over to Pennsylvania. We'll settle it. Nobody wants to sign. All right, so what do you want to do? You just want to start on YouTube and just scream and yell and rant and say nasty things about me? You don't want to do matching betters.
You don't want to sign contracts. So if you keep on doing what you're doing, I have to do what I got to do. I have to send an attorney. I have to get a contact an attorney. I have to go in and get that cyber private investigator, figure out where you're located at, so we can serve you for court. Bring a process server to your door, so that way we can bring you in court, stop you from doing what you're doing. Can't allow you to go on YouTube, continue to do what you do. That's wrong. So, got to do what's right. All right, people. That being said, I got to go. Thank you for your time, and God bless. Oh, that button right there. Get that button.